Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from Ajijic, Mexico. Yay! Thank you so much for joining. Oh my goodness. Ah, so what's been coming up lately is the real world. I actually did a clarification on A Course in Miracles about the real world lately. And I go, wow, this is what we're meant to bring about right now. There's only right now. So there's not another later time that we're going to be able to do this. It's just right now that we're bringing about the real world. Now, people get a little bit caught up in that because they're like, oh, once I'm in the real world, it's going to be so. Well, the thing is, the real world doesn't even last. It's only very, very temporary. It's a forgiven world. It's where everything is forgiven. It's where there's no aging, sickness, conflict, anything like that. Because we stopped tolerating it. We stopped tolerating these things. So the only reason we're getting a perception of a world that's not the real world is because we would tolerate it. For instance, when we think we see sickness in the world, we are not looking at sickness in the world. We're looking at a reflection of sickness in our mind. It's coming from our own mind. Okay. So to point it out and say that something's wrong and try to fix it is totally different than our willingness to see through it. That's not saying that you can't use any medicines or anything like that, but there's another way of doing it. There's another way of looking while you're doing whatever you're doing. One example is block therapy, okay? You look at bodies and they seem to be out of whack, kind of like deformed. Maybe the shoulders are pulled forward. Maybe their legs are twisted or something like that. And so if you're using the block, the wooden block, to try to correct a problem in the field, basically what you're doing is keeping problems going. But you can do the kind of find yourself doing the exact same thing. It's basically you're using this tool to reveal to your mind that the problem is only in your mind. And that's really a mental movement. Instead of using it to try to correct something in the field, like let's say something's twisted, or, for some people, they're trying to lose weight. They feel like they got too much body fat and they're using it like that. It's all misperception. Our bodies are not the way we're perceiving them. We actually are created immortal. So just perceiving mortality, that's an error. That's already an error. So one friend came to do block therapy with me, and she was telling me all these problems that she apparently has. And, I said, you don't have any problems with your body. She's like, you're telling me I don't have any problems with your body, with my body? And I go, no, the only problem is misperceiving. That's really the only problem. And if you do block therapy like that, you're going to be way more successful. And this goes for a supplement or a medical drug. It doesn't really matter what it is. Nothing is poison and nothing is helpful, let's say, in the field. There's really nothing like that. We're making all of it up. So if we would look at it like we're only using this as a symbol to remind ourselves of what's actually true, we're going to see ourselves progress toward vitality a lot faster, right? In fact, when we're using any of these tools, you can say they're tools or symbols to make illusions true, we're really only pushing this toward death. Okay, so one way to put it is all illusions in the world only lead toward death. If you would use them though as a symbol for seeing past the world that we made, and this is a world where we seem to be mortals. We are not mortals, we're immortal. This is how we're created. What occurred was a misperception, the main misperception that keeps on pushing everything forward in the world is just fear. And it's fear brought on by shock, because we were one with God, totally anonymous in God, totally anonymous, without any kind of self-awareness. And then God gave us a great gift. Each of us, a great gift. He made us distinct, still love, still perfect love. This is how we recognize each other. This is how we feel each other. We recognize there's a difference. There's differences between us. Everyone is distinct, right? So when God gave us this gift of self-awareness, as you could say, a unique tone within God, it was shocking. And it seemed to be an abandonment. And so then we just started pushing that forward. We made ourselves into mortals, thinking that we broke existence. We're out of existence now. So it's like, okay, well, I'll go into dreaming. Make an image of myself and go into dreaming. The image isn't real. The image is a mortal image. So forgiveness is about undoing the image we made and going back to this distinct abstraction that God created. It's not like we're going to be gone. It's not like we're going to disappear. That's the ego story. That's the ego story that arose out of this extreme shock and fear that we've just been abandoned by God, and now we have to make our own reality. So seeing past that, it talks about in A Course in Miracles of seeing the great rays come through everyone, right? The only way we can see the great rays is to look with perfect vision. And that takes forgiveness, basically forgiving the illusions we made. Just a second. I think someone might be. Okay. I don't need that. People are coming up. Just forgiving the illusions we made, including, any kind of deformity that we perceive. Recognizing that is something that we made. That's an illusion we made. We don't want to look on that. We want to look past that. One friend recently was relating to me that she's okay, she's feeling okay about herself unless she looks in the mirror. And once she looks in the mirror, then she's not feeling good about herself. And I go, well, the key is not to stop looking in the mirror. The key is to be willing to look past where the body's eyes stop. The body's eyes stop at the surface, at the skin. That's a layer, that's a covering. It's your sheer willingness to look past that you'll be able to see beauty. We're all light. We're all really light. The skin is meant to hide the light. And we're all making that up. We're all making that up, that we even have this barrier of this body. We're basically beams of light. They're immortal, distinct. Never gonna go back to anonymity, right? There's also this desire to go back to being anonymous so we don't have to suffer, so we don't have to go through any pain. That's not going to happen. What's going on and what's going to happen, what everyone's on a trajectory toward, is recognizing this sense of individuality as a gift, not as a burden. right? It's been seen as a burden because we've made ourselves guilty. We've made ourselves mortal. We've made ourselves into this thing that's not good enough. And there's lots of ways that we do that. We got stories. I'm not good at something, for instance. That's a fun story to look at. Or I am good at something. Also, a fun story to look at. There's nothing like that. We're just dreaming about having any kind of even apparent ability in the world, comparing ourselves to other people, comparing ourselves, like, well, let's say in popularity. Well, I'm not as popular as that person over there, or something like that. It's like not recognizing the gift and the beauty that you are as that distinct tone that God created. And it's like there's a whole symphony playing, and each one of us is an integral part of that. Take one part out and the whole creation doesn't work. It's out of harmony. It's disharmonious. Okay. So it doesn't matter whatever your life seems to be. You could, I like to go to the extreme so people can see it's not, there's nothing that you could do wrong. Let's say you're a heroin addict, right? Uh, let's say you're a heroin addict who is having murderous thoughts, and feeling down and really bad about yourself. That doesn't change one thing. It doesn't make you any better or worse than anyone else in creation. In fact, the role that you seem to be playing, the role that you're playing in a dream, in this dream, is perfect for everyone. And it's perfect because it's helping to awaken us from this sense that we're mortal, that we're all going to die. Whatever it is, you're helping us. There's nothing that you must do to be better. It's basically about surrendering the sense of self that you made and being happy and glad about the part that you're playing for the undoing of this dream. And see, here's the thing. God's will for you is perfect happiness. So if you would be willing to be happy with the role that you have given yourself, really, you've given this role to yourself. There's only one of us, really. There's only one of us, and it's all God. Everything is God. Let's say, you are that heroin addict person, and you recognize that the heroin itself is actually God. And you're awakening in that moment. You're awakening in that recognition. And that's what makes you happy. That's God's will for you. So you're not pushing anything away. Last week, someone asked me, well, what about addiction? And you might describe addiction as something that you keep on doing that you really don't want to do. First of all, recognizing that you really want to experience this. You're not really doing anything really, but you really want to experience this fully. Until you experience it fully, it has to come back around again. That's why things like AA and NA and all those, where you're on some kind of program to try to stop being addicted to something, they don't really work. They do make a sense, like, okay, now you're doing good. You got to this point and you didn't do the thing that you didn't want to do, and you get a sense like, okay. It's happier, it's more comfortable. The thing is, though, it's like repressing that energy is not the same as working through it, as seeing through it. It's like if you're willing to see right through it, to recognize, I want to experience it's not until you actually experience it that you actually get done with it. So let's say you use some strong willpower to control yourself this whole lifetime, there will be another one manifested so that you could still get the full experience of it, whatever it is you're meant to experience. Another friend told me they're not going to have any more relationships, any more romantic relationships, because they're bad at it. And, when I hear something like that, I immediately know that that needs to project forward in time. Basically, it's making more time so that that manifestation can occur. So that manifestation of a romantic relationship can come about again and again and again until it's seen as not harmful and not helpful either. Just completely innocent and neutral. So everything that we get an experience of in this imaginary life is totally neutral. It's our thoughts about the experience that's not neutral. The thoughts about the experience would say, I don't want that experience, or I do want that experience. Either way, it's attachment or it's aversion, which are really two sides of the same coin. When we're not asking for a future experience, or we're not pushing away any experience, that's where our mind is awakening. That's where we're in the now, right? It's not like we're gripping towards something and also not pushing it away. It's just a matter of asking the Holy Spirit. So, I shared with my friend, because, we were both talking about how we have experienced pain in romantic relationships. We had that in common, where we've had pain come up in those kinds of things. And mine was much more recent. Hers was many years ago. And she's like, yeah, ever since then, I'm like, no way, I'm not good at it. And I related with her. I go, well, for me, what I'm shown is to always stay open to the Holy Spirit's guidance on what it is that's coming up, and where I should go and what I should do and who I should talk to. Because if I make my own rules about my life, if I make my own rules, that's the same as pushing more time forward. It's putting it out of the mind. It's more like a matter of what is resonating right now, and what is it for? That's so huge. It's like knowing what it's for, recognizing that all things that arise, if they're used for awakening, then they're going to be beneficial, even if they bring pain. See, that's the misconception that a lot of people have. It's as if I'm listening to my guidance, I'm going to have no pain. That's not the case. It's just that when the pain comes up, it's not going to be wasting time. It's going to be really potent for undoing, for seeing, for recognizing these different patterns that are being played. There's so many different patterns in relationships. And what I notice is having gone through pain in relationships, and it still comes up, the pain still comes up from time to time. I was just writing an article yesterday. I posted to Substack. It's about equality in relationships, trying to make these equal providers, let's say. And just sinking in and going into my psyche about that, I noticed there's pain, right? So even with the pain, it's like, what is this for? And when it's given to the Holy Spirit's use and not tried to make personal, then it's really helpful for seeing through the different patterns that are coming up in our relationships. And these relationships are meant to be like classrooms. They're not really for getting what you want in the world. They're not really like that. They're meant to be classrooms. So, Jesus was saying in A Course in Miracles, in the early chapters, I guess it was just the first chapter where it was Principles of Miracles. He was saying, you've misunderstood sex. You thought it was for connection. And looking in my psyche, I'm like, wow, I see these underlying patterns. They're not right on the tip of consciousness, but they're seeing these underlying patterns of using it to get something. And then noticing when I don't seem to get what I thought I was going to get out of it, there's anger, there's resentment. See? And so seeing these patterns and not personalizing them, not making them personal to you, but recognizing that these are just patterns that arise based on the thought of separation, then we could actually use them to collapse time. That means our behavior changes. That means our behavior around them changes because the way we think about these things automatically changes. We start to see the hook. Ah, thank you, Mama. I love you. Thank you for coming on. My mom came on to say happy birthday. Apparently, it's my imaginary birthday today. I had a fun day at the spa, I have you know, Mama. I had a really fun, relaxing day. It was beautiful. And now I get to do one of my favorite things, is have wisdom talk with my friends. Such a blessing. And some other friends are even taking me out to dinner tonight. It's so sweet. Thank you for coming on. I love you. So, this idea that we're going to get something good, it's as if this is making a connection. We can make a connection by joining bodies. We can't make any connection by joining bodies. We can only make connection by joining mind. And what does that look like? That's an emotional joining. I see it as kind of like an emotional joining, being emotionally available for whatever we are doing together. It could be anything. It could be anything. We may be making a bank transaction together. Just being emotionally available for those who are in the field. That's what brings about this willingness to see the light that we are. Because what happens with the ego? The ego wants to use bodies. So let's say in the bank situation, you're doing a bank transaction. The ego looks at this body as being beneficial for helping it accomplish the bank transaction. Okay. But if you look at the Holy Spirit's purpose is awakening. So then you recognize that the idea that you even have a bank transaction to do is like a structure that's being used as the means for awakening our minds. And that's joining through awakening our minds. So look at how it is. I mean, really, it's not just sexual, how people would use each other's bodies, but using each other's bodies to try to, even in this example, make a bank transaction. See, it's as if that's what the body is for. That is not what the body is for. The body is for communication. So the way to look at that is take a deep breath and be willing to see what this interaction is really for. Get in tune with the Holy Spirit's usage for every single one of these interactions, no matter what we seem to be doing. Okay. Another example is just using the body as far as using it to hook something, to get something, right? Even to get a job, to get attention. There's another one. Look at when you're getting dressed. This isn't everyone. We're all on a lonely journey. We're all on a lonely journey through thought. So these ideas of our individual lives, yes, we share some of these. Some of us have some of these in common, but they're not technically shared, really, because they're all projections. Everything that makes up your life, your personality, your clothing, your likes, dislikes, your strengths, your weaknesses. It's all just a lonely dream. Look at this, though. This is kind of common when you're getting dressed, when you're just picking out some clothes. Notice, notice. This is a really easy and fun way to practice. Ask the Holy Spirit what you should wear. What would be the most effective for awakening the mind today? Because if you're not asking the Holy Spirit, your mind will automatically go to what will they think, for instance. Will this be sufficient to hook another body, hook in another body? This is how we make more time. We extend time. See? It's really simple in everything, because in everything the ego's trying to sneak in there and use the situation for attack. And it's really self-attack anytime there's a thought that goes unrecognized. It's really unrecognized, because these thoughts that come up, they're not neutral at all. They're either collapsing time or they're extending time. There's not anything in between. So having the Holy Spirit's guidance to just show you the difference between the two, what's collapsing time and what's extending time. And for the most part, we're not guarding our mind, right? For the most part, we're just not guarding our mind. But this comes with practice. The more we practice, the more we're guarding our mind. So I'll give you, for instance, my friend and I went to the spa today, and I have not been to the spa since I've been here. And there's some cool spas around here with mineral springs. So we arrived at the spa, and there's a price you pay to get into the spa. So we paid the price to get into the spa. We walk in, and immediately we're going, this seems like a chlorine pool. For one, it looks like a chlorine pool. For two, it smells like a chlorine pool. So we're like, And then we look around some more. Where are the mineral pools? So we're walking around, and we find out that the nicer mineral pools are behind another gate where you pay again, right? So it's like, oh, well, maybe we want to go check out another spa. Let's see if we want to just go check out another spa. So my friend, first of all, she starts coughing. And I look at her and she goes, this is something that I do. This is a habit that I do, is I feel shocked. I feel shocked right now that I just paid all of that to get in, and I thought it was going to be one thing, and then it turned out to be another thing. This is where practice comes in. It's perfect, you know. For me, it's like automatically, for me, a red flag just went up right away. Pay attention. This is where something like disappointment might creep in or something like that, right? This is where something might say something is wrong, and we stop extending love. It's like we're in a loving vibe as long as things seem to be going the way we expect them to go, right? But then when your expectations get blown out like that, that's the real opportunity. That's the opportunity to see, oh, this is a call for love. It's on one side or the other. It's either love, it's either perfect love, or it's a call for love. So whenever something seems to not go your way, it's just a call for love. So it's like, well, either way, whatever we do, it's going to be awesome. It doesn't matter what choice is made in the field. It really doesn't matter, because it's all going the same way anyways. It's going toward peace and truth. And so it doesn't really matter what choice we make, whether we walk this way and go up there and say, hey, could we have a refund? Because we thought it was going to be something else, and it was this. So we go, oh, well, let's go check out that other spa. Okay, let's go to the front. Let's just see if they'll give us a refund. This is coming from my point of view. Let's just see if they'll give us a refund. If they don't, no big deal. We'll just go to the next spa and check it out anyway. No problem. So we're up there, and I don't speak any Spanish apparently. So my friend's talking in Spanish, and she's asking about a refund. And so they asked for the receipt. And, immediately when I got the receipt, I proceeded to leave it somewhere. I wasn't into carrying any paperwork. They're like, oh, it's no big deal. I don't need it. I don't need to get a refund. You go ahead and get a refund. You got the receipt, right? So then the person she was talking to was like, oh, we do have natural hot springs though. Let me show you. Let me bring you over there and show you what we have. So we got walked around and, past all the chlorine pools, these huge, huge pools and toward the back and okay, let's check it out. Let's just stay here and check it out. So I was relating with my friend, that sense of being shocked. That is actually, it comes back to you're not upset for the reason you think. That sense of being shocked is shock from when God created you to be self-aware. So it's like you were not created. There was it's like there was an instant when you were not created. Okay, you're not created yet. You're just one with God. Okay, you could say, you're the creator. Let's say that you're the creator. And then it's kind of like the creator split himself off and goes, this part is now self-aware. This part of the creator is now self-aware. And so then there's a sense that you're apart from the creator. You're not a part. You're not even part. You're not even really part. You're just a self-aware tone. You could say it's a tone. It's a distinct abstraction within the creator. You never left. Every single thing, even something small like this, where you were expecting the spa to be this kind of spa and it turned out to be a different kind of spa, it's not really happening. It's only in a dream. It's not even really happening. It's only transpiring so that it can project that same feeling of shock, abandonment, rejection. Every single thing that comes up in your life is exactly like that. Anything that you think is going wrong. A sickness comes up, apparently. Any kind of sickness. A doctor gives you a diagnosis. Someone steals your wallet. Earlier, a few weeks ago, I left my ATM card in a machine, came back 5 minutes later, and it was gone, right? And I just have to smile because I know what it's for. It's a forgiveness opportunity. This is what collapses time, you guys. It's not just feeling better. It's not just like, oh, well, maybe it's gonna give me what I need and that kind of stuff. Well, yeah, that's true in a sense too. But what it's doing is it's giving you an opportunity to actually collapse time, to recognize that all this is an echo. Whenever something seems like it's not going right for you in life, all this is an echo of that sense, like you've been abandoned, like you've been rejected, like you've been kicked out of heaven. Why do things go wrong for me, let's say? They don't. This is the opportunity. You want to see again, you want to recognize again who you are. You haven't really had the opportunity to recognize who you are with individual awareness, self-awareness, to recognize that you're actually still in God and you never left God. All longing is a reflection of this. All longing. That's why recently it was purified for me, the longing for a personal relationship, like a romantic relationship. I apparently went 31 years solid in romantic relationship. And then it seemed like I needed another one soon, right? Or at least I needed some sex. I have got sex regularly. I've always had sex regularly, right? And so in using these things as a forgiveness opportunity, this is exactly what collapses time. It's like recognizing you don't need anything to go any particular way on the screen of consciousness. But here's what I see, and going back to the spa example, where there's willingness to collapse time, to use it to collapse time, you just automatically start having more and more fun. You see more and more fun in the situation. You know, when the ATM card got eaten by the machine, it seemed like I wasn't going to have an easy way to get money here in Mexico. Like there was no way for me to apparently get a card shipped over here. They have a hard time shipping things around here. They take a long time, or they have a, well, I guess there seems to be a hard time receiving things around here, going through customs and stuff like that. And it seemed like I was uh, pretty much screwed. Seemed like I couldn't get anything done. And I just kept on seeing that as an opportunity to see the not, you know, not going into fear, not going into, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Kept on seeing it as an opportunity. And eventually I found a card in my wallet that I hadn't activated yet. It was a Cash App card. And it was able to work. I just activated it. It was like really simple. It turned out to be something really, really simple. Um, but it was just an openness. It's like, okay, show me what it is. Show me what it is, where this is going as far as only what can I forgive around here? It doesn't go into, oh, I wasn't listening to my guidance, and so then this particular thing happened. No, everything becomes a blessing because everything, when given to the Holy Spirit's purpose, it's used for collapsing time. That's the usefulness of it. And when it's not used for anything else, you automatically wind up in more and more joy. And it becomes easier and easier to do this, this is what we're assigned to do. You can say it's our function in dreaming is to use all the things in the dream, everything in the dream, as a means to collapse time and not try to use it for our own personal gain, even for making stories about it. The only thing it's good for is collapsing time. And, you know, pattern recognition, seeing our patterns, recognizing, okay, like my friend today, okay, this is what I do. She said, this is what I do. I get shocked when things don't go my way. And there's a sense you can I hear it in the voice too. There's a certain way of talking and even laughing where it shows this attachment to, oh, I hope things go okay. I hope it's all right. How am I going to be provided for? How am I going to be taken care of in the world? All these things are opportunities to see through. And when we use them that way, we get more and more joy, not out of the world, not out of the situation, but because it's our mind is focused in the way it's meant to be focused. Serving our function is the only joy. It's the only way to get happiness. So the ego projects it out there as if I get attention, or if I get the right partner, or if I get the right job, that those things are going to make me happy. But really, the only thing that makes us happy, the only thing, is serving our function. That's what gives us the vitality, including vitality for the apparent body, is using it in that way. And this isn't the same thing as being a good person. It's not the same thing. Because it's, you know, it's easy to go, okay, how does the world need me to do good deeds? Right? Who can I do a good deed for? That's not the same thing. That's the ego again, because the ego makes problems. For instance, it makes problems by making people apparently poor or apparently sick. These sick people, these poor people, these unspiritual people, for instance, they need me. That's not the same as extending love. See, when we actually just extend love, that's recognizing that everyone's whole. This is our own wholeness that we're actually recognizing. This is our heart. When we're willing to perceive the wholeness in all of the people that we look upon, we're perceiving the wholeness in ourselves. And that truly is extending love. That's what's collapsing time, not what it is we can apparently do. The doing too, it'll take care of itself. We don't have to worry about that. Like, let's say giving some kind of charity or anything like that. But this idea of I'm a good person, or I need to be a good person, or I should be a better person, that's different. That's totally different. And there's a way of being very self-righteous about that too. Even in simple things like we're doing a fundraiser, for instance. We're doing a fundraiser. Well, look at that. It's not bad to have a fundraiser. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's not bad to have that. But look at how the ego uses it. It's like it becomes a should thing. You should go to this thing because it's a fundraiser. This is what makes you into a good person. Recognizing that these people that seem to need help do not need your help. They don't need your fucking help, actually. And this is how we collapse time, by recognizing that they don't need any help. Everyone's whole. We're not better off than anyone. No one's better off than anyone. Imagine that. I know the story. I heard stories about white privilege, for instance. Like we're better off because of the color of our skin, for instance. This is just a divisive thing of the ego, just like anything else that says anyone's better off than anyone. We're kids growing up. Probably some of you got the story of eat all your food because there's people who are starving in other parts of the world, for instance. And, that's just a way of saying you're better off than other people. No one's better off. You know why? Because this life is a dream. And everyone is projecting themselves as a mortal body that's on its a trajectory toward death. Okay, so no one's better off than anyone. Even if someone happens to be on the battlefield, even if you happen to look at another person, they've got shows like, I don't know, I haven't watched TV in a long time, but when I did, the Jerry Springer show, you would watch that and go, oh, thank goodness those people are way worse off than me. Or those people are way crazier than me. They have a much worse life than I do. See that kind of comparison. Thank you, Margarita. Thank you for joining. I love you. Or at least, at least I don't look like that, for instance. It's not a guilty thing. It's a matter of just watching what the ego is doing. Right? So it's watching what the ego is doing. The ego is trying to make it so that you are in a mortal body, which you're not. You're not in it. You're not in this body. It's more, it's more honest to say the body and its whole world are manifesting in your mind. They're popping up in your mind out of a thought that you're separate. It's only the thought of separation that's making this whole thing. So to see the real world, to bring about the real world, to basically adopt Christ's vision, is to have no tolerance for illusions. And for me, I just watch my mind. I just notice it. I just notice what's going on. What kind of illusions am I making real? Right? It's not trying to make myself perfect. It's not trying to make some kind of a self-image. It's just noticing what kind of illusions am I making real? How am I making myself into something that's better or worse for another person than another person? How am I making myself as if I'm important in someone's life? Right? As if I'm important, because that's the ego's game too. The ego wants to be useful in people's lives. Imagine this. Imagine just being completely not useful. Not useful in the ego's terms, as far as what you can do for people. But being 100% helpful because you're willing to see everything as love. That's the true helpfulness, is being willing to see everything in love. Because truly, There isn't anything else but love. There isn't. We make up all these ideas. The ideas we want, let's say we want world peace. We want people to stop killing in the world. And, when you look at your mind, it's like the only reason you can even perceive that there's any killing in the world is because you believed in separation. You believe that attack is possible. So what you're looking on in the world truly is not any kind of killing. No one is capable of killing. No killing can even happen. It's just a misperception. So you undo the misperception by extending love to the perception of killing. Even that perception, even that scenario, it's made of particles. It's projected particles. One with you. So you can extend love to that. Even pests, let's say like ants are all over your kitchen. There's two ways of dealing with them. You can try to force them out by poisoning them, or you can extend love. You can actually extend love to them. Right? And even if you find yourself doing some kind of poisoning or something on the surface of things, you're using it to collapse time because you're extending love to them. It's all mental. And you can feel it. It's an emotional connection. You can feel it. So when you're emotionally connected with everything, like in a grateful way, with willingness to extend love to anything that seems like it shouldn't be the way it is. Like you're either just extending love, and for the most part, when things seem to be going our way, we're extending love, right? And then when they're not, that stops. It's like it stops. Like, oh, that person didn't do things the way I want them to do. Or those ants won't stay outside to keep on coming in my house. I've had the perception of a couple ants here and there, so firsthand experience of that. And I've noticed that throughout too, is not getting infested with anything, because maybe I'll notice one or two cockroaches, for instance, and just extend love to it. Like it's just being. That's just being. It's just being like that. And it's lovely the way it is. And that includes anything that pops up in the body sense, just extending love to it. And it doesn't mean avoiding, because people go to an opposite extreme with this too, and go, okay, the body isn't real, so it doesn't need any kind of care, for instance. I don't need it. I don't need to. I could just disregard it. That's also the ego. That's different from extending love to it. And if you're looking at it as it's not real, so you should disregard it, that's not extending love to it. It's withholding love from it. And that's also harmful. You're not really harming a body. You can't really harm a body. But all attacks, when you're not extending love, that's attack. It's one or the other. When you're not extending love, you experience it in a physical sense. The body can't really be attacked because it's not real, but you experience it as if it's been attacked. And in that, when you have that experience too, that's the opportunity to extend love. It always comes down to that. And whenever anyone seems to be doing something wrong or doing something to you that they shouldn't, that's also the opportunity to extend love. We get better at this by our willingness to practice it. And we come into our own power, recognizing our own power. to be commanding everything. That's the thing. That's what Jesus talks about, is actually commanding life, not controlling it. That's different. Not controlling outcomes or anything like that. That's being in command of life, is collapsing time. And that's what we want. We want to bring about the end of time. Not so that we could be reabsorbed and not have any experiences anymore. We're created with individuality, with self-awareness, so that we can continue experiencing indefinitely. It never ends. The experiences continue to go forward, but the experiences we're having when we perceive lack of love, those aren't our true experiences. Those aren't really in the glory of God. So we want to bring it back to the glory of God, everything back into the glory of God. Oh, what a blessing. Even if you're asking for a refund. You know, it's like you do it with joy. Whatever you seem to do, you do it with joy. Even if you seem to be an activist, you seem to be trying to change something about the world. When you're recognizing that it's not real, you can do it with joy. And that's really the lesson. That's the teaching and the learning, to be doing everything with a sense of lightness and with a sense of, I'm just here to extend love. I'm just witnessing this to extend love. Even this pain, let's say. All pain is already healed, because all pain is fear, and fear has no basis in reality. That includes emotional pain. You know, maybe a memory comes up, someone seems to have done something to you. Maybe it's loss. Maybe someone passed away, or they're just not talking to you. Right? Maybe you realized that you couldn't interact with a person anymore. So you stopped interacting with them, but it still hurts your heart, right? All this pain is it's just fear in disguise, and fear has no basis in reality. So it's already healed. That's why there's no need to brace ourselves against something. Right? So a lot of us get the perception that someone can come around with negative energy and actually harm us. Like someone was relating with me today that when a person started talking about something negative, she felt it. It was like pain in her body sense. And I go, oh, well, you know why you're feeling pain in your body sense? Because you're bracing against that projection. In seeing that this is an opportunity for extending love, your body sense becomes more and more transparent, to where we can feel each other, we can feel each other's energies, but not take them on as if it's a painful thing, because there's no longer this resistance, like, no, 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 no. Learning how to say yes. Oh, someone's coming up to me and telling me that hey, how are you doing today? And they're going, shitty, I'm doing terrible. My cat died, and my mom has cancer, and whatever the story is. And it's like, oh, feel with them. Let your body sense be translucent. Feel with them, so you can extend love to every one of those particles that you're perceiving. Even in a scenario that's basically particles, and you could say it's God particles that you're perceiving, but it's a misperception having them be made out into something negative or bad. Anytime you perceive anything that you seem to not want, that it's negative or bad, you're misperceiving God particles. So the way to communicate is to extend love to those particles, so you can see past what it is. And you know, I've seen conversations just really change and go to something very light, even when someone's coming with a negative energy. You know, I've seen it go to something really light, because of my willingness in my mind to extend love to those particles that make up this whole scenario that I'm perceiving. No one can come up to me and tell me anything negative without me projecting it. They can't do it. And I see how people go through it when they believe that people can actually come up and give you some kind of negative energy and make you hurt. It actually cannot occur without your authority. It's like you wrote the script for them to come and tell you that stuff, just so that you can get the opportunity to collapse time. Now, from the ego's point of view, these things need to occur over and over again, and you need to keep on believing them so that you can keep time going, so that we can keep this illusion going. The ego is the one who needs to be, the ego has a need to be important to you. So look at when you seem to have a need to be important to a person, useful, let's say, useful. Look at it like this. What if I could just be entirely useless in the world? What if I could just be completely useless in the world and just be love? Just be extending love. Not go, have this idea, have this self-image that I'm reliable or something like that. Oh, we can always rely on them. This person always shows up for us whenever we're in need. See, that's the ego. You're going to show up. Don't worry. You're going to show up just as much as you need to show up. Really, whether you're extending love or not. You're going to show up in every circumstance is how you need to show up. It's always perfect. And knowing that however you do show up and whatever you seem to say and however anything seems to go, it's perfect for everyone, including yourself. That's extending love. However I do show up, it's perfect for everyone. I can't get it wrong. And that can't be just for yourself. It has to be for everyone. However they show up, it's perfect for me. Thank you for showing up that way. Sometimes people will be apologetic. They'll be like, oh, I'm sorry about this. And it's like, even if I don't say it, I usually do find myself saying, something like, oh, you're perfect. Not even like, oh, you don't need to be sorry, but you're perfect. No, whatever you're doing is perfect for me, actually. Even if I seem to be going through some kind of pain or some kind of struggle or something like that, I'm quick to let people know, you're not causing this. You're not the cause of this. You're perfect. You're helping. You're helpful. You're always 100% helpful for me. This is what teaches our mind that we are not separate. And it teaches our mind our immortality. And I'll notice when my mind goes astray, not with guilt. Not with guilt. I've seen enough and learned enough to not be projecting guilt onto myself. Not to be protecting the ego that way, right? I made a comment the other day. I said it would be nice if these people would do block therapy, because I noticed that block therapy seems to calm people down. It would be nice if these people do block therapy. And I saw that. I go, oh, it's as if something's wrong with them, because it's as if the way that they interact, the way that they live life, whatever it is, the way that they look at things isn't good enough. And I got the solution. Right? And it's just these subtle things, and it's fun to catch them and recognize, oh, that's meaningless. They're actually perfect as they are. They're giving me exactly what they need, what I need and what they need and what everyone needs all the time. And that's the correction. That's the recognition. That's where the call for love gets met. It's actually a call for love, and it's always coming from my own mind. Right? Another one that I just saw yesterday, and it's really simple. I like to give you guys these real simple examples so you could see. Well, I was running out of toilet paper, so I bought some toilet paper over at the store, and I can't read what it says on there. It's in Spanish. I don't know what's going on as far as I could pull out my app and go and see what it says, but I just got the toilet paper I needed. I asked the Holy Spirit, which toilet paper should I get? Um, and then so I finally opened the toilet paper last night, and oh my goodness, it's got a strong aroma. Apparently, it's got all kinds of synthetic chemicals all over the toilet paper. So my mind immediately makes a deal about it. Oh my gosh. It's poison, basically. It's poison. I saw the movie Stink, talks about synthetic chemicals, how they're poison. Now I'm putting this on my privatest of parts, apparently. And immediately I caught it. I go, nope, this is an opportunity to extend love. The particles of this is how basic it is, this is how subtle it is, and this is how persistent it is. This is an opportunity right here to extend love to the particles that make up the toilet paper. The particles, God particles, there's only God particles, there's no other particles that make up the synthetic aroma. And peace to the idea, send peace to the idea that anything in this world can be poisonous. In fact, that anything in this world could be poisonous or that it could be medicine, either way. Again, there's a bit of a paradox here, isn't there? Because it's not as if you're disregarding what seems to be, and as far as going, okay, I'll just put a bunch of chemicals all over the place, all over myself and all over the place. They're still recognizing a preference to what seems to be joyful, healthy, however you want to look at it, and allowing that to be. But when something seems to not go your way in that regard, that's where you extend the truth. Is extend the truth. Like if I were asked, oh, what's the preference of this individual? It would be to have scent-free toilet paper. But since I find myself with toilet paper that has an aroma, immediately it's like peace to that thought that says that anything is poisonous, right? I may find myself tomorrow or the next day going out and trying again, getting some new toilet paper. That doesn't matter. That's neither here nor there. See? It's not a matter of tempting the ego and going, okay, now you have to put all these synthetic chemicals around you so you can prove this is tempting the ego. This is not what you're asked to do. See the subtleties here. You're not asked to do that. It's still a matter of noticing what you're being asked to do, but not trying to make it so that you're given more forgiveness opportunities. Don't worry, the forgiveness opportunities are coming. You don't have to try to make it so that there's more forgiveness opportunities, for instance. This is what, in A Course in Miracles language would call it tempting the ego. Okay? That's not what we're trying to do. It would be similar to someone who has experienced before that whenever they ate gluten, they would blow up, not be able to breathe, whatever kind of symptoms they are. So what you're asked to do is deny reality to those symptoms, deny reality to this idea that gluten can actually be a poison to your body. You're actually projecting that. What you're not asked to do is go and purposely eat a bunch of gluten. That's thinking with the ego. You're always going to get your ass kicked that way. Because then the ego is going to go, look, see, your mind is weak. Here's the evidence. Here's the evidence that your mind is actually weak. To prove and demonstrate that this is an illusion, you just take whatever it is that comes. Whatever it is that comes up, and these opportunities are coming up all the time. So you don't have to try to make it. You don't have to try to make your own forgiveness opportunities. You don't have to try to go to a certain place. So let's say, so you could see a bunch of poverty, so you can extend love there. You don't have to try. These things are automatically going to be popping up. You'll have a perception, maybe looking in the mirror, you'll see an extra wrinkle, and there's your forgiveness opportunity right there. Now, you're not asked to try to make yourself like that so that you can forgive it. You're just asked to take whatever it is that arises. And remember that God's will for you is perfect happiness. And your joy and your happiness is in serving your function like that, extending love. Extending love to these particles, basically, that make up everything, all the bodies too. So if a body is presenting itself as sick, let's say it's yours or another body is presenting itself as sick, it's willingness to recognize that you're misperceiving. And instead of resisting the apparent sickness, you're loving the particles that are making up the experience. They're making up the scenario. You're loving those particles because those particles, those God particles, they cannot present as sickness. Only your mind can make them like that. And it's from lack of love. That's why it's the extension that cures it. See? And you can apply that to any kind of relationship too. Any kind of relationship dynamic. So, speaking of relationship dynamic, one of them that's been presenting itself to me recently is this one about trying to hold equally male and female, or whatever it seems to be, hold equally, all relating, whether it's romantic relating or anything. It's kind of like a container. When you have close relating, it's kind of like a container. And there's this sense of always trying to keep things really equal. Like, you do this, I do this. You do this, I do this. I've even heard the saying, and it'll like, I'll feel something in my body's energy field sometimes and not quite know what it is, but over time it'll present itself to me. But that saying, teamwork makes the dream work. I heard that and I got this sense of obligation. I'm like, that's interesting. Why is there a sense of obligation there? And, that's because there's so much focus on form, on what people should be doing, on, feeling like you have like this pressure on you like that. And so noticing it's not in the form like that. All of our relating is beyond the form. So trying to keep things equal in the form, it prevents the dance from occurring. And these are all kinds of relationships. In terms of like, let's say husband and wife kind of relationships where people live together, this is part of the ego's agenda, to be focusing on form. Right? It's not really about the form, it's about the content. It's about the love that gets extended through this thing. See, there's so much focus on the form and trying to keep things equal, balanced in a pretty way, where there will be less conflict because people will be feeling like they've contributed equally as well as everyone else. And there might be instances where sometimes some people are contributing more and sometimes they're contributing less because the form is only there. It's only given you so that there can be this extension of love. So what's happening is, and what I notice is people are getting burnt out and looking at, okay, how can we keep this always even? How can we always keep this even? Like money, resources, energy, everything like that, instead of going off of joy, whatever is joyful right now, and letting things manifest just the way that they do. I did this with my kids. This is where I practice it a lot with my kids, in running a household and having apparent chores to do, right? Not making my kids do any chores, just watching and watching. Maybe I would find myself asking them to help out with something, but not demanding anything, right? And just watching how the ego mind moves. If they don't do it, I'm going to have to do it. And then I look at that, and this is many years ago. I actually wrote a book about this. It's called Unschooling for Parents. It's on my website, hopejohnson.org. And there's a sense, if they don't do it, that means I'm going to have to do it. And then it would occur to me, well, no one's really doing anything. So what's the issue if I do seem to have to do it? If I do find myself doing extra chores, for instance, right? So it gave me this huge sense of freedom. I couldn't believe how I was like, wow, just allowing everyone to be how they are and not focusing on trying to make it so that it's even, so that we all do the same amount of chores. And then it doesn't even matter. How do these things get done? I don't even know. But it's not depending on anyone. It's not depending on anyone to pull through, right? To carry it through for us. People would ask me in those times, well, don't you think you're raising your kids to be spoiled or raising them to be dirty or anything like that? And I go, well, the main thing is I want to collapse time. That's what I'm doing. I'm not waiting for my kids to grow up before I start doing that. Main thing is I just want to collapse time. I'm not trying to make it even or anything like that. Just let them be, let them have whatever experience they need to have, and trust that the Holy Spirit has them. Holy Spirit is always working in all of our minds. Nothing's ever wrong. If the bathroom gets to be really dirty, then I'll probably find myself stepping up and cleaning it because no one's doing it. But I'm not really doing anything. That's the other thing. I'm not really doing anything. And I've talked a lot recently about my relationship with my husband, and about how there came to be a lack of sexual attraction. Like the sexual attraction just diminished, because my husband wasn't holding the container as far as financially and stuff like that. And when it comes to something like that, that's also the way it's supposed to go. So I wasn't demanding on my husband, hey, you've got to do this. You've got to hold this container for me, right? This is just, everyone's getting exactly what they need. Everyone's getting, it's not like I'm trying to say that he did it wrong and it should have gone a certain way. It's like, no, that's also part of it. This is a part of the dynamics and the way they work. These relationships aren't meant to go on and on and on and last forever. It's like where there's not the demanding for it, and it's okay if it comes to, oh, this helps us see. This helps us see what do we really want. In this case, my husband wasn't actually doing what he really wanted to do. He was actually denying himself. He was getting the sense that he needed he needed me to carry this kind of weight. And see, that also has to play out a certain way. So the demanding in any way just doesn't need to occur. And for me, I didn't see it. I didn't recognize that's what was going on. I noticed that the sexual attraction was being diminished, but I didn't realize that it was because he wasn't holding a structure that was, he wasn't holding a structure that was allowing my femininity to be in surrender mode. Right? I didn't realize that. All I knew was that the Holy Spirit's purpose was the purpose for everything that was unfolding. So when he reflected to me that he was wounded, I was like, okay, well, apparently that's the case. I'm not feeling like pushing anyone toward anything. There's no need to push anyone toward anything. I'm sure it's all going to work out perfectly. And it did. Even though that was the case where the attraction diminished and diminished and diminished, it's also to show something. It's like that's how we all learn. That's how we all can see, oh, here's how we extend love better. And basically, all we're doing is seeing these patterns that we have, these patterns of fear, and recognizing that these patterns of fear don't really mean anything. We don't need to keep them. And we learn and we see how to extend love more and more and more and more. It doesn't matter how any of these relationships even go. That's not what they're for. It's not to keep, let's say your marriage is not to keep the other person happy. It's not like that. But when I recognized it, I was like, oh, there's a dynamic going on there. I see it, And once I recognize that, oh, that's the dynamic, then it's like, oh, I don't have to play that dynamic anymore. There's no need for me to play that dynamic. And I could see my part in the dynamic. Like we're both making it. We're both making it like this. So it's not about trying to get performance out of a person. It's just noticing how we're both making it. I noticed within my mind, there was a lack of trust. And we're all going through patterns like this. There was a lack of trust in the spirit to sustain my body and to sustain my family. So my mind put the pressure on myself to do it. And in that, I became resentful toward my husband. It was perfect. And from my husband's point of view, he was afraid of doing work that he thought he didn't like. And he thought he needed me. He thought he needed it to come from outside of him. We're both really playing the same kind of pattern. It's lack of trust in the sustainer of all things. So that's what it's going to do. It's going to play out in different ways, and it's going to be perfect. See, there's nothing here to try to change, to try to make it better on the surface. Like I said before, these relationships are not meant to give us what we think they're meant to give us. And that's relationship with all things. That's your relationship with your body. It's not meant to give you what you think it's meant to give you. It's only manifesting so that you can use it for undoing the patterns that keep this world projecting. So that people are thinking, oh, we need to go to counseling and get our relationship more perfect. It's like, no, I don't need it to do any. Let it do exactly what it's doing. Let it unfold exactly like it's unfolding. Right? You could say a business, for instance, that's also a relationship. And what I noticed, I had a business and a marriage tied into the whole thing. And it's like the marriage and the business were structures that were giving me exactly what I needed to see what I needed to see until that wasn't necessary anymore. And then in one fell swoop, I set aside the marriage and the business. They're done because I got what I needed out of them. I got what I needed as far as what the Holy Spirit would have me learn through these situations. And that's what's happy about them. I mean, there wasn't anything, even though, I'm going through apparent trials. These are apparent trials. That's what we have through our lives. There's this current of happiness that runs through it too. There's all kinds of fun times being had. Right? While there's this current of happiness and joy, and I'm able to touch in on that all the time as I'm learning my lessons, as I'm learning how to extend love more. And basically, in this case, in the example I gave you, the main crux of it, and this may be the main crux for so many, and who knows, maybe everyone, is the lack of trust in the Spirit to sustain and support us. So then we're looking outside for that. See, for myself, I was putting it on myself. From my husband's side, he was also putting it on me. But there is no real me, so it's not really a problem. I don't mind. I saw this for years and years and years and years, and I would just keep on going, Holy Spirit, I know you've got this. I know the lessons are coming out of this, right? And then at some point, it gets to the point where all the lessons are learned, all the lessons are done with that, and it's just like the next step. It was very easeful and apparent. The next step is to go, okay, setting the marriage and the business aside all at once. And without animosity, that's the other thing. Because there's no sense of, oh, this is what he did to me. Or he should have been a better husband, or he should have been this, or he should have been that. No, he was exactly the way I needed him to be. And right now, he's exactly the way I need him to be. And he sees me the same way. That's how you have a holy relationship. That's really how you have a holy relationship. It's not about it going perfect according to how the ego would have it go. See, we're going to be projecting our lack of love, you could say. We're going to be projecting our lack of love onto each other. That's what we do. Just so that we can see it. So it's great. It's gratitude. It's gratitude for everything everyone seems to be doing. And noticing when you're not in gratitude, that is the moment that you're being asked, all you're being asked to is to love that scenario. Love that person. Love that person's body. Right? Which is basically made of God particles. It's all made of God particles. So, people might ask, is my kids are adults now. Well, how did those kids turn out? You didn't make them do any chores. You bought them anything they wanted. All they had to do was say the word, and you bought them whatever they wanted. My motto was, as long as I seem to have the means and they're asking for something, I just go ahead and buy it for them. Never made them wrong, right? Yay, welcome. And people would ask, well, how did that work out? Well, perfectly. It worked out perfectly. There's not anything to say, like, look, here's how it went that made it look good. Here's how it went that made it look bad. It's perfectly because everyone gets whatever they need out of the scenario. Everyone always gets what they need. Oh, I love you. Aloha. Okay. You too. You too. Yay. So, when someone asked me the other day, they said, "How is your relationship with your kids?" And I go, "It's great. It's perfect. It can't be any better because there's nothing wrong. I can't see anything wrong with anything." And that includes, at one point in time, one of my sons wasn't talking to me. And if people asked me during that time too, I'd be like, "It's perfect. I love it." Right? And it opens the door for them to come around to how they really want to be. What I see is my kids, they want to be loving. They especially want to be loving to their mom, right? Everyone's like that. Everyone wants to be loving. So when I got the sense that my son wasn't talking to me, I didn't take it as something that was bad at all. I love that he was exercising his own will like that. I don't want to talk to my mom, so I'm not gonna. Great. And we were living in the same house at that time. There was a very small kitchen, and we'd see each other in the kitchen, and I just regard it like, oh, we're meditating together. This is how it is. We're not talking. This is great. I love it. I love however it transpires. I've had instances with my kid getting mad at me, and ruining things around the house because they're so mad. Punch a hole in the wall, throw my baking dish, stuff like that. I'm like, oh, thank you. Right? Right too, right to him while he's doing it. He's looking at me. Trying to get some kind of, you shouldn't be doing this. And I'm going, how do you feel now? Do you feel better after throwing the dish? And it always, always, always comes back to love. Everything, every hurt, it's already healed. It's already healed in love. Now, see that? So no matter what kind of scenario you're going through right now, I guarantee you, if you're in any kind of relationship at all, friends, lovers, parent, child, anything like that, you're projecting onto each other. As long as there's a form of a body, you're projecting onto each other, and you're making some weird ideas and scenarios appear as if they're real. This is actually how we bond. This is how we bond. It's really beautiful. Like with me and my husband, we may not be physically together anymore. We may not be having a marriage anymore, but we're bonded through the experience. There's so much love there through the experience because there's not trying to project after the fact. This is what people go through too. They'll go through a divorce, and then all of a sudden it's like they're the worst person. They'll tell people they're the worst person, or they feel like they did it wrong. They did relating wrong. Or you might put it on yourself and go, I did the relating wrong, and I feel really guilty about it. None of that is necessary. Whatever the projection seemed to be, it was perfect. The more you would give it to the Holy Spirit, the more you'll see that. And it's never too late to give it to the Holy Spirit. It's not like you can look back on it and go, oh, I didn't give it to the Holy Spirit, so I ruined the whole thing. Well, you can, but you don't need to do that. Right now, you can give the whole scenario to the Holy Spirit, even though it seems to have already passed. Maybe someone seems to have even passed away, and there's a sense of, I didn't do it right. My husband and I were talking about that a lot because, once I left the marriage, my husband could see clearly, like, all of the ways where he was behaving in ways that it seemed like he didn't want to behave, basically because he was thinking in ways that he realized after the fact he didn't want to think like that, and he wishes he would have done it different. So we were having conversations about that. And basically, I was relating to him that it went perfectly. It couldn't have been another way. It couldn't have been a better way. It's actually just a dream that you're projecting right now, as if you've done it wrong, as if this is actually real. There's no reality to this. Right now, this is where you accept the Holy Spirit's judgment, which is pure acceptance. So that right now you could be in holy relationship. See? So he went through a period, and who knows, maybe he still does have these kinds of thoughts coming up, right? Where it seems like he should have done it different. Where he should have, but it should have been more of this, could have been more of that, right? But he knows now to look on those things with the Holy Spirit so that he can actually use whatever it is that's arising. Remember, there's only now. Whatever it is that's arising, to collapse time and see reality. Right? That's what we want to use everything for. So it's not a matter of going back and going, oh, I should have treated her differently. I should have, let's say, I should have attended her talks instead of resisting everything she was doing. I should have been more like this. I should have been holding a container for her so she could flow, so she could do her spiritual teachings without having to be supporting the family. It's not like that at all. It was perfect for me. I got the scenario that I needed because my lack of trust in the spirit to support and sustain my body and also my whole family's body made it so that I also projected, we did that together. I projected a scenario where the weight needed to be on me for financially providing for my family. And I also needed to have the experience of sexual attraction diminishing over time, apparently because of that. So the way that's changed, because I'm seeing the scenario right now, I'm seeing what it is, how I played out that scenario. Now that's just not something that would be acceptable to me. It wouldn't be acceptable to me to accept responsibility for sustaining my own body, much less my whole family's body. Right? That's why it keeps everything, it keeps everything young, vibrant, juicy in that way. Really? Because every attack where and basically it's attacking where we're saying that we are in charge of our own sustenance, that's an attack on the body. And when we say something like that, we believe that we're in charge of our own sustenance. We also look out on the world and see people who aren't doing it well. And see people who apparently need our help, people who need like us to help them be sustained because they're not sustained by the love of God. See, in recognizing this, we help everyone in recognizing that we're all sustained by the love of God, that there's no need for any of us to put any kind of pressure on ourselves or on another person. See? So it's not like now I'm going to go to the opposite extreme and now only go with a partner who would let me put the pressure on them. See? That's how the ego would play it. The ego would just work opposites, opposites, opposites. Okay, now I've played this scenario where I'm the one who has to take care of sustaining my body and my whole family and my husband and everything like this. So now I'm only going to go with people who would take that responsibility on themselves and just keep on playing the opposites and projecting the illusion forward, forward, forward by playing opposites. No, it's about thinking differently. It's about thinking with the way the Holy Spirit would have us think. And that is, I'm sustained by the love of God alone. I don't need any kind of sustenance anywhere from anyone. It's not necessary. Okay. I've had all kinds of I've had all kinds of insight on this. You know, the Holy Spirit has shown me that, you know, when it comes to any kind of sexual interaction too, we're using sex to get things. We're using sex to try to make joining. That's what happens in these romantic relationships. So it's as if, and one of the trials that I was going through is that I have opened up to this person in that way, and they're not holding a container for me. Right? It's one of the trials that we go through. It's like, and it's like this sense of something's something's wrong. Something's wrong. So noticing that this is a game that I've played. All of what I perceive is just a game that I've played. And the Holy Spirit shows me that I don't need to pursue any kind of sexual interaction anymore. I don't need to do that. There would be a pursuit in thought starting when I was super young. Like that's some kind of safety, right? Like that's some kind of joining. That's going to get me something that I want. And it's like now from this perspective, what I see is there's no safety in that at all. That's not anything. That's not a way of joining. And when trying to join like that, it's like disrespecting the spirit in ourselves and within the other person. So it's not a matter of pushing it away either. It's not a matter of resistance. It's not a matter of taking on a new identity now that says I'm celibate, for instance. It's a matter of recognizing that you're not going to get anything out of that. It's not leading to anything. It's not getting you to anything that you want. It's nothing like that. And also noticing there's a lot of emotions that seem to be involved in that. So noticing, what does the container of the relationship feel like? Is there provision in the container of the relationship? Is there provision so that the feminine aspect can lean, right? This feminine aspect can lean on the container, on the provision, and the masculine aspect can lean on the feminine's ability to surrender and recognize coherence in the field. See, that's different than trying to make two people equal and trying to keep an equal footing. I noticed that in mine and my husband's relationship, it was like this underlying trying to keep things really equal. And the way that looked was I was in charge of all the finances and making sure everything got paid and all that kind of stuff. And my husband would clean and cook and do things around the yard. Right. And it seems like, oh, it's neat because we all, we have our duties and stuff like that. But what was going on, we weren't able to go deeper. We weren't able to go deeply because there was no leaning from the feminine side of things. There was no surrender. There was not this ability to surrender, like as let's say, as a vortex. You can look at a relationship like a vortex, as this vortex, being able to spiral deeper and actually lose ourselves, lose these separate identities, not lose our distinct sense of self, but the separateness, the separate identities. So what I saw was there needs to be more of that ability to lean from the feminine perspective. And that doesn't have to always do with male bodied and female bodied, but there's a sense, and we know it automatically, like what roles we're actually given certain roles that we're meant to play in the field. And so many times they get reversed. And that's what happened with me and my husband. They got reversed. Like I intuitively knew that my role was not to hold down all of the structure like that as far as financial. That my role was to be in surrender, right? And he also intuitively knew that his role was to hold the structure. But when you get into the ego, it gets flipped so many times. And that's what happened. It just flipped. The roles got flipped. Again, nothing went wrong. It's only foreseeing. So recognizing that I'm not important to save anyone. So now when I'm relating with people, I notice that tendency to take care of them in a way that's actually guided by ego. And it seems so subtle. Like just not allowing them to just like be as they are, perfectly as they are. It's like looking, oh, they need this kind of help. That happens a lot as far as like people who seem to need spiritual help from me. And then they'll play into it with me. Like, oh yeah, I do need it. I need you to be around. I need this. I need this. I need this. It's like, no, you actually don't. You actually don't need that. I'm not, that's not what I'm for. In my own mind, I'm meant for extending love. And you too, you're only meant for extending love. You're not meant for playing as if you're needy. You have it all already. You're exactly as God created you. You're not the body. You're not this sense like you're lost. The best way you can help someone who seems to be lost is to not be lost yourself, to be receiving the love of God yourself. And you know, the way to that is forgiving your illusions. So anything that comes up that says that they're not in their right mind, they're lost, they need your help, anything like that, you bring it to the truth. Everyone is guided by the Holy Spirit. Everyone is perfectly taken care of. So in that, you can have any perceptions, and they all lead to more and more and more joy. Ah, thank you. Yes, yes. Well, you know, one thing Jesus said in the Bible too is seek first the kingdom of heaven, and all else will be added unto you. Seek first the kingdom of heaven. So for me, like when I look at my relationship with my husband, I stopped in certain instances. I mean, I was still doing it, I was practicing all the time, but I was also seeing through some delusion. You know, there was a period where I needed to see through some things. Um, but there was this not seeking the kingdom of heaven first, where I'm actually seeking to get financial security by putting the weight on myself first, as if the kingdom of heaven comes afterwards. We all have the masculine and feminine aspect playing within us. And these are just symbols. They're not real. Um, it's basically pointing to this structure and surrender. That's what, as long as we're dreaming, that's what we're doing. We're building structures and we're surrendering them. Building structures, surrendering them. That's all. So as we're doing this, as we're seeing this play out, we're also seeing how our patterns are, how we're afraid to let go, right? So there is fear on both mine and my husband's part to let go of the structure of our relationship when it wasn't working anymore. Not to say that, again, that was bad, because it was showing us more and more and more. The structure as it is, as a non-working, as in it's not spiraling deeper as a communion together. Like the communion's kind of like cut off, so it's not spiraling deeper. But still, we're both spiraling as we do within ourselves. I was super focused on this spiral within myself. So it's like it wasn't a union with him doing it, but it was like within my own mind, right? And with him, he was in resistance. Still, the Holy Spirit had him the whole time, right? So we go further, faster though, in awakening our mind when we actually join together. So the structure being as it was, where there wasn't this mental joining, it wasn't as effective as a structure, but still we're both learning what we need to learn through it. We're not seeing that that this is actually over, as far as being a joining that would spiral us both deeper into union with God, into forgiveness and all of that together. So it's kind of like you're going on your own with the Holy Spirit, and that's part of the process. It's like now at this point, I would only accept close relationship with mighty companions. But I needed to go through that to see at this point. I would only accept it with mighty companions. As far as any kind of romantic or sexual relationship, what I'm seeing is that's not necessary for me. It's not even necessary. That's not the same as saying I'm rejecting it, though. If the Holy Spirit shows me down the line that it is, it's also going to be in a situation where this is a holy companion, not just something where we're holding some kind of structure where we're raising kids. This is a situation. It's like it's got this structure where you're raising kids and you're doing these things in the world together. That doesn't mean anything to me. See, it comes to that point where it's not, this is where it becomes more of that spiral where you're actually joining together. I'm having no close relationships with anyone who's not a mighty companion. Right? And that's basically a meeting of the minds where we're joining together for this one purpose. It's not a purpose in the world. It's not for attaining things. It's not for attaining riches, or it's not for attaining knowledge, let's say, or attaining anything in the world. We're not getting together for that purpose. We're only getting together for joining our minds. So it took going through this whole process to get to this point. And what the Holy Spirit showed me too earlier on, talking about how the structure of the relationship as far as joining our minds was over for about 10 years, right? I would ask the Holy Spirit, what would you have me do? And the Holy Spirit showed me very clearly, stay where you are. You got lessons to learn. There are things for you to learn here. And so this is what brought me to this point. Now, this is what brought me to this point where I wouldn't accept anything else but holy relationship, mighty companions, as any kind of close relating. It's like I don't need a close relating for a structure anymore because I depend wholly on God for sustenance, I'm sustained by the love of God. That has sunk in. Once that's sunk in, that's when I set aside the marriage and the business, and I just said, I'm totally done with this now. There's no need for this anymore. I'm sustained by the love of God. There's no necessity for building anything in the world with anyone and putting our minds toward building something up, right? Unless that thing is actually guided by the Holy Spirit, which it wasn't anymore. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you can see that. I'm so grateful that I'm able to share these kinds of things with you. I know that I know that it goes deep and deeper than what we're usually willing to even look at with these relationships and stuff. And this includes relationships to everything, right? It's like if we don't use our relationships for seeing through, they're just going to lead to all kinds of pain, right? Just a lot of pain. And even as, I mentioned earlier, even as we're using them for these things, as we're using them both, because what we try to do is use them for both. We try to use them for, building something in the world. I saw a long time ago that my business that I started in 2011 had run its course by 2014 for me. But then there was the sense of, I need to keep it up. I need to keep it up, even though at the same time I'm using it. So we're trying to use it for both things, like the Holy Spirit's purpose and also our own purpose at the same time. And that's what brings up the pain. Okay, that's what brings about the pain. Then the way I look at the pain is that it's helpful. I would go through pain every single day over my business and over my marriage for the past 10 years, or not the past 10 years, because it's been a year now since I left the marriage and the business. But I would go through the pain, but I'd go through the pain gladly because I knew it was teaching me something. And I knew that there was an end. There's always an end. And I knew that it would work out perfectly, and it did. It showed me through the pain. And then what I do with pain, here's how I do it. I feel the feeling. I don't believe the thoughts as best as I can. And I got better and better at it over the 10 years until it came to the point where, okay, I could just set this aside. Yay, it's sunk in for you. Yeah, I love it. I'm so happy about that. I know I've been talking about this, not just in this session, but for many years. And I know that some of you have been joining me for many years in these sessions and heard me talk about these things in all different ways and going through it myself. And it just heartens me so much when you come to me or you reflect to me, Hope, it's sunk in. It actually sunk in, right? I don't mind repeating it so many times. I feel like I just have infinite patience for it. I just have infinite patience for repeating the lessons over and over again until they take shape within you. And the same thing, I'm doing it for myself. See that? I've been doing it for myself. I definitely reached a point last year where it came to, it kind of like came to a head, and it's like, oh, okay, now I really feel it. Now I really do feel sustained by the love of God. I don't even care how this thing is going because I know I'm sustained as long as I'm willing to extend love. And this doesn't even depend on me getting to share like this with you guys, like here on Wisdom Dialogues. It doesn't depend on me having a laptop to be able to do this. It only depends on if I'm willing to extend the love of God rather than make illusions true. And that has come on to me more and more. It's become more and more real to me because of my willingness to do it. And I'm totally grateful for this opportunity to share with you guys, both with you in person here and with all the people who are online right now, and everyone who will watch and listen to this later. It makes me so happy. And forever, for however amount of time people can come back to this as they're getting awakened, as their mind is ready to receive these kinds of teachings, and to see it and to get it and to go, oh, the main thing is, you guys, be relaxed. Whatever it is you seem to be going through, it is right for you. Just keep on asking the Holy Spirit to show you what it's for. When I was in a sexual relationship with my friend, when it first started, I was like, oh boy, okay, Holy Spirit, show me your purpose in this. Show me. And, that doesn't mean that it wasn't going to be painful. It was actually the most painful 9 months I think I've gone through, maybe ever. I don't know. But what it seemed to me was it was bringing up pain that I had buried before, that I wasn't ready to look at, that I was able to bring up in this particular relationship, right? So I kept on going, Holy Spirit, your purpose. I only want it for your purpose. I don't want it for any other purpose. Even though it felt so nice and the sex was so great and everything like that, I just kept on asking like that. And so what that shows me is it's not that you're not going to get the pain. Yes, there was pain, but all pain is just fear being made manifest. And it's always healed already. So it's showing me more and more. And, it's been showing me relationship patterns so much that I've been able to write about. And for those who are ready to receive it, they can receive the message. Those who are not ready to receive it, it's like it's just sitting here in consciousness, just kind of like waiting here as a gift for whenever let the individualized consciousness arise to that point where they're able to receive the teaching. It's such a blessing. I'm so happy to share with all of you. Thank you so much for joining me today. So Yay. So for more Hope Johnson, you can go to hopejohnson.org. There you'll find how to sign up for my Substack, which is free. And most of the content that I do on Substack is free. If you want to listen to my bonus audios, which I recommend, and get my bonus stuff, then you would get a paid subscription on Substack. Minimum amount for a paid subscription on Substack is $8 a month. If you would prefer to donate to me directly, you could do that right on my website. And if you donate to me directly, I will give you a free paid subscription to Substack as well. If you'd like access to me for one-on-one, I love to give one-on-ones. It's so much fun. I do minimum of 15 minutes. And yes, people can get major breakthroughs in 15 minutes. Bring whatever scenario you've got going to me, and I'll help you see it through the Holy Spirit's eyes. I mean, basically, I just tune into the Holy Spirit with you, and we join together and see through it. So there's one-to-one access to me there. Also, my book is there, and more. So check it out, hopejohnson.org. I'm also on Facebook, Hope Akea Johnson. I am on what is it? Instagram, Awesome Hope Johnson. Telegram, Awakening with Hope. And until next time, thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Wayne. I see your note. Thank you. I feel radiant too. Thank you so much. I love you. Mahalo, aloha, and a hui ho.